Hi guys, welcome to this session. My name is Yaniv and I'm going to talk to you about the new trends in retail and how they affect data management. A bit about myself, I am devoted master data management speaker and worker enthusiast. I've been working in various domains of data management in the last 16 years, supply chain, logistics, CRM, and ERP of course, and I've been working in various domains, aerospace and defense, pharmaceuticals, consulting, and now I'm doing retail and fashion. And I'm honored to present to you guys live here today. The presentation that I'm going to talk about today is one of the presentations in the series of presentations that I've presented throughout the last couple of years, talking about customer data, how they evolved from a single domain master data management area into a multi-domain through various aspects of how we use data, all in correlation to customer data. In today's presentation, we're going to talk about what is a customer journey, a bit about the physical versus the digital customer journey and how they changed, personalization, maybe you've heard some of these words, the new players in town a bit, what we can actually do with augmented reality and artificial intelligence, and later on we'll see how this all compiles up into an effect on data management from the customer profiling and how do we acquire the right customer. So just to align, master data management, most of you probably know it, right? Has evolved in the last 2 decades from a single domain to a multi-domain, right? Touching nearly every single industry out there, financials, logistics, supply chains, banking, retail, everything you can think about, data has now its footprint in there. We all have one thing in common, and that commonality is to have one single truth of data across our landscape. The landscapes, they do grow with time, more tools come in, different architectures, but the core value still remains. We still have to have one truth when we look at that data, no matter where it is. If you all agree, nod your head. That's good. We all have the same challenges as well, no matter the industry, right? We have silos, or we used to have silos, or we're dealing with silos, right? Single truth of data for customer, employees, suppliers, partners. And the biggest question is, can we collaborate them all? Can we work together seamlessly, right? And have a good result rather than having data to be cleansed on a singular basis. Have it cleansed once. Looking back a bit about what is a customer journey, if you took the older generations and you ask them, what did you do 20, 30 years back? They would probably say, we saw a billboard sign, we saw some ad, we looked at the product, we liked it very much, went to the store, we purchased that, and then we would tell our friends about it. That was about it. This was our customer journey. Now, the customer journey has not changed. We do the same, but a bit differently. So these 5 steps that you see on the wall here, awareness, consideration, purchasing, retention, and advocacy, they're all the same. But they've changed a bit in the way we approach them. Let's see that. Right? A couple of years back, a new channel is opened for us, and this was the Ecom, online purchasing. Big wow, we can now purchase online, don't have to go to the store to do that. We can look at the blouse, the skirt, whatever that is, purchase it online, right? Ecom. It did change the customer journey a bit, but the change was making it from a single path to a multi-path. We're now able to buy the same product both offline and online, being able to present to you guys here on-site and off-site, right? Having both worlds connected together. The real job of the companies that try to combine both environments, right, is to make sure that you, the customer, have one single journey, seamless journey. So if you look at a product on an app, go to your browser later on your laptop, and then go to the store, you see the full product in all places and it's all the same. You could leave your basket in one place, pick it up on another location, right, and it's still the same basket. You don't feel a difference, right? We see that with Amazon, we see that with other branding clothes, right? And this is the seamless journey. What do companies do in parallel to providing you the seamless journey, right? We also collect some customer data, right? We want to know who you guys are, because knowing you better helps us provide the better product for you. You guys familiar with this? You remember what a store looks like? Right? We haven't seen that in the last 2 years because most of them have been closed and we couldn't go on site and pick up A shirt, nice shirt, right? But this is how we used to shop a couple of years back, right? Now, this presentation is a bit futuristic because what I'm going to show here today will show you what we're able to do and what we're aiming for. And just one anecdote to this one. Most of you guys have seen the movie Back to the Future, right? In Back to the Future, they stated that the future was 2020. I have a news flash, guys. We're 2021. We've passed that future already, right? So our future is different. And let's look what it means. Customer journey. Summarized into 3 different sections: consideration, right, of the product, shopping, purchasing of the product, and then the enjoyment, right? This is a summary of these 5 steps into a very nice circle, and you see the different logos inside of Twitter and so on, and social media, but what do they mean? What is the effect that we have now? We see that the shopping experience or the customer journey has changed from a physical one to a digital one, right? But there's a gap. And what is the gap? The gap is that sometimes we need to feel the product that we buy, right? The journey is not necessarily the same as it was in the past. Might be faster, might be a little bit more intuitive, right? It might be different. The internet giants out there, and most of you are using them, and they're using your data as well, right? They are building your profile in order to provide you services, right? And sometimes when you go onto a different service provider and you see how they are laid back or how old-fashioned they are, you feel frustrated. Why are they not up to date with technology, right? We all have these questions when we call the phone on the back and say, guys, you know, can't you see my ID? Can't you see my data? It's pretty obvious, right? So the internet giants know how to use their data, and what they do, they crumple it up and they modify it so they can reach you better, right? But the gap between physical interaction and digital still remains there. Sometimes even collaborating with person face-to-face is easier than actually talking to a screen and presenting on screen. The growth in need, right, of data-driven approach is the leading part, right, in a digital transformation, and we are all there, right? And this all has an effect on the customer experience. When I spoke about digital giants, I spoke about Google, for example, and Facebook. We are all using Gmail in one way or another, or Google as a search engine, right? Most of us have Facebook as well, right? They know what we do, right? But why? Because we provide them the data. We want them to know. We want Google to know where we are, where we're traveling, so they can send you an email and say, hey, you've been to these locations, what do you think about it? We want Facebook, right, to know what we are doing, so they can give us commercials. You were looking at a dress, you were looking at a location for traveling. We want them to do that, and the interaction with them is very mutual because we provide data, and they provide us whatever we need in order to use that data. They know us, they know our intentions, right? They know our background, and they know how to generate the right insight data for us. On the other hand, going back to our customer journey, and if you remember the 5 stages that I showed before, they're all out there, but they're a bit different, right? People value their time much more than before. Pandemic, right, has changed the world. Suddenly people are doing home office and people can see that the industry is not collapsing. We are able to work from abroad, working from our homes. We don't have to be on site, right? We are able to use our time more efficiently than in the past. If I used to drive 2 hours to the office, now I can use these other 2 hours for personal benefits or doing something else in parallel, right? Also with the purchasing behavior. We're looking online, right? The awareness is done by searching, by email, by marketing differently. We find looking online, the reputation is what we think about it, right? And the way we actually spread the news is by tweeting about it, posting an image, Instagram, showing our clothes, whatever that is, right? But everything is say the same. The only thing is that we do it from our own comfort zone, not necessarily having to be in the store like we did in the past. And that's why we have this nice couch at the end, right? Now, how do fashion brands try to make this shopping behavior, the customer journey, a bit more attractive to you guys, right? And I'm not talking about specific brand, but I'm talking about the whole industry itself, right? What do? They collect data, as I said before. And how do they use that data, right? So maybe you've heard in the last couple of years, a couple of new buzzwords were out there. Personalization was one of them, right? Many people like their personalized stuff with their own naming. They want to have their own touch. If 20, 30 years ago, I would come out with a red shirt and say, this is what we have, people would buy that because this is what we have. But now this is not enough, right? Millennials, new generations, they want to have their own tweak to that red shirt, maybe a nice button onto it, right? So personalization is a major game changer. But is personalization the last trend? Would there be something else, right? Do we need to see something else changing, right? How do we intrigue customers to buying our stuff, right? Or looking at our stuff in a different perspective than in the past? We take this, for example, this nice pulley, and we see that this has one part with a nice logo on top, right? But this same article could look differently, right? By click of a button. It's the same article, just a different logo, right? This is the personalization touch. This is how people can change their own outfit to their needs. We are so entitled to have our own unique ID everywhere, so we create our own emojis. Companies build this Bitmoji, which is really cool. You can actually have your own face. Apple did the same, on your phones. So did Samsung. You can have your own emoji and you send it on your WhatsApp and so on. Everybody wants to have his own footprint everywhere they go, unlike a decade before, right? The more data that we, the customers, provide out there to these big giants or to these companies, the better the personalized experience that we will have, right? Look at Nike, for example. Nike did this beautiful pair of shoes, and if you go onto their website, and you could probably do that after the session, you could actually create your own personalized shoe. It's all the same, right? It's the same. Look at the brand on the side of the model, right? And it's all changeable to your own preferences. So we said personalization in retail, is that the latest trend? Would that be the last trend? I mean, how much more can we go with personalizing clothes, right? Do we have to settle down for Ecom as the last way to purchase products, right? And our personalized robots talking to us as customer service, is that the latest thing that we can do? Or there's a bit more to it, right? And I have to be honest with you, it's not the end. We're going one step further, right? There's a new player in town, and the new player in town is called gamification. Maybe you've heard about this word. Gamification means that we take a subject, a system, a service, organization, activity, or so on, and we turn it onto a game-like feeling. Adults, as youngsters, we all like to play games, right? And taking a process and making it a game-like makes us get the idea much faster, get us more interactive with the system, makes us more in favor of that game. Why? Because we are actually interacting with the system, right? A great company called Dressed, they made this beautiful app where you can actually scan your body, right? And you can put clothes on yourselves and see how it looks like. They made a big buzz around the industry. You can download the app later on Apple Store and Google, I think, or so, and play around with it. It's really, really cool. It's a future thing. Some stores have a digital virtual walkthrough. What does it mean? It's like we're looking at house viewing, but not being able to be in the house. So Eric, if you help me out here, we can actually look that on the virtual store. If you would please go down to the second floor, we're actually touring the floor as if we were in there. Think about it, midnight, 12 o'clock, you're sitting in your sports clothes and you're looking inside the store, which is closed. And you look at how it looks like, and if you would be kind enough and press the red trousers, by pressing that, you will be literally sent to the website and you could buy the red trousers. So I could be in the store without being in the store, right? I don't have to get out of my place. This is new. Thank you. Augmented reality. Buzzword. What is it? What do we do with it? Right? How can we take augmented reality and put it into retail? So, hair dyeing for ladies probably, right? Think about it. If you could actually take an app and dye your hair in the app and see how it looks, right? You could purchase the product without actually purchasing, testing, not basing yourself on the image on the box itself, but through some kind of app that you're actually interacting with. It allows us to get personalized information, right, on ourselves. We like it. It's very speed to market, meaning I can actually put a color, see how it looks like, and then order it if I like it or not, or change it, so I don't have to wait for a result, right? And it reduces the cost of samples for the companies. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but in Germany, for example, you could order a jacket with multiple sizes, try them on, see that one size doesn't fit you, send it back, and keep the one you like, right? Without paying for the delivery. What happens is, first of all, you're not necessarily satisfied if you order only 2 pieces and they're not matching you, right? This is bad. The second part about it is that the companies who actually send you the parcel and the companies that send you the garment, they take the garment that you send back and they sell it as outlet. So they're actually losing costs, right? And we want to fight that part by actually giving you a better experience, a one-time shot, right? And reducing our costs of sending and lowering the price. And we'll see how we do it in a minute, right? We also use augmented reality for giving additional information. If you look at the lipstick on the lower left side, you see that by scanning a barcode, you can get the information about that product. This is a lipstick, this is the color, and so on and so forth, right? Technology is out there, and us using it is the next best thing for us to actually leverage. We don't have to have all the information on the package, but just having you log into an app and look at the data itself. As I said before, what's my size? So sizes differ between company to company, right? It's their own intellectual property. There's no one guide. I could be an XL being a big man in one company, but going to China I will be probably 7XL, and going to the US I'll probably be a medium, right? So we don't know what our size is. How can we fight that? To be honest, my wife and I are having a lot of difficulties choosing the right size for me, being a big man, right? So we have to see how we can actually approach customers, right, in the right way and actually make their journey a bit more satisfactory. And how do we do that? We have a tool for that. Technology, right? Body size measurements. You scan yourself in the store, you scan yourself with your phone, and your body measurements are kept. These measurements can be then sent to the shop itself, and you know what your size is. I know that I'm in double XL in my company and probably an L in another one, but my sizes are measured. This would actually reduce the cost of shipment, right? As I said before, because now I know what I want, and I will be a satisfied customer because the product that comes in is my size, right? So this is one aspect in looking at that. Artificial intelligence is the next best thing for us, and we're using AI in a very, very nice way to actually show you guys what we can do with your data and how this can support you in the future purchasing behavior. So if you would please, Eric.
If you are looking for skincare recommendations based on your specific needs, Ecom's AI skin diagnostic tool is here to grant your wish. Highly accurate skin analysis powered by AI machine learning is easily enabled online and in store. The tool accurately detects 8 common skin health metrics including moisture, oiliness, redness, acne, spots, wrinkles, texture, and dark circles. Users receive personalized skincare recommendations that meet their specific skin concerns. This innovative technology delivers instant and accurate skin assessment for all skin types and ethnicities. Embrace the power of AI and connect with your consumers in an entirely new way.
So this is interesting, reading the data of your face to give you the right product, right? Next best purchase. Data, and this was said I think in a presentation before, data has a very, very hype of growth. We're creating data on the fly. We're creating data much more than we did before, right? One of the biggest challenges is actually analyzing the data. There are many tools out there trying to help us analyze our data real time, close to real time, and so on, right? But this will be a growing gap for many years to come because we are creating more data than in the past, right? Our biggest challenge is trying to actually close this gap of analysis with data creation, right? Customer profiling. What is a customer profile, right? So we heard these buzzwords a couple of years back, customer 360, seeing online and offline, right? I drew this nice image here, this avatar, for a company, right? You were a build-up of numbers, right? And your behavior is done by a cookie base. What do you do in the web? What do you do inline and offline, right? So we take all this information from the online and offline, right? And your behavior information and so on. And we build some kind of avatar of who you are. Building this avatar helped us identify the difference in segmentation between the people, right? So a 30-year-old living in Sweden, in Stockholm, might be different than somebody else living in the same age criteria, but living in Oslo, or somebody else living in Dubai, for example, right? Different purchase behavior, different kind of clothing, and so on and so forth. So we have to understand who the customers are in order for us to actually work with them in a better way, in a personalized way. And how do we build this profile? This is a very interesting part. So we have 4 layers, right? We have the data management layer, which is the one layer that is the basis foundation of every industry, right? And if I talk about customer data here, we're talking about all the data that regards to the customer itself, right? And is built across the organization. In the data management layer, we do data governance, we fix the data, we manipulate the data the way we need it, so it's aligned, and we have one single truth of data, right? As I said before. On top of that, we're using the analytical models, trying to understand who the customers are. We're building different analytical models such as RFM, recency, frequency, and monetary value. We're building a life cycle value, how long will the customer be with us, and so on and so forth. What is the next purchase product? So sometimes you might see that you get an email with promotions, and this same email is a template sent to two people in the same category, right? But they see different products. Why? Because we know who they are. We analyze them. So we build a template, but the data inside the template is different. On top of that, we're doing campaignings, as I said before, right? And we personalize the data. And on top of that, we have a reporting layer where we actually see all the feedback, right, of how our campaigns were acting, were they opened, not opened, how many sales we got out of these, and so on. Now, I drew this as in a pyramid just to emphasize how one thing is stacked on top of the other, but actually this is a circle. It's a continuous improvement, right? Because we always try to refine our data to the lower bits and pieces, right? Adding more and more information to better analyze the customer profile showed before. And how do we acquire the right customer? We use these 4 segments of who the customer is, right? Different attributes about the customer itself, how he likes to interact, email, telephone, face-to-face, and so on. The attitude, right? Behavior, and the way he's behaving outside. His payment history, does he pay online, does he pay cash, does he pay with a card, whatever that is, right? How is his shopping behavior and so on. So we look at the offline data as well. So these 4 segments of who, how, why, and what actually help us build the customer profile itself and help us acquire the right customer for us to build the right campaign for him. Recently, we've been introduced to a platform called CDP. It's called the Customer Data Platform. And this is supposed to be a platform that actually enable us to collaborate between the different types of systems out there that we have in our landscape, right? Enabling us to be omni-channel, provide a customer 360 profile, help us with the next best action, and of course, artificial intelligence. The CDP is a collaborative tool that collects everything together. It's not a data management tool, and it's not a data governance tool, right? So when your organization looks for data management and data governance tools, look precisely to see if the tools answer your questions. Do I have governance? Do I have management? Do I have a collaboration? Do I have synchronization? These are the tools that we have to look out there once we look trying to actually integrate different systems. For a conclusion, pandemic has changed the world. I myself personally think that it did good, right? We have realized that people are more in favor of their time. We can work differently than we did before, right? Technology is a great enabler. Technology is blooming through this past 2 years. If you look outside, tons of startups are coming out because people realize that things can be done from distance. We don't have to be physical, right? And it did one great thing. It actually showed that there is always a constant need for data management and data governance out there. Thank you.